Adam Brandon, who was the president and CEO of Freedom Works. They've been working tirelessly around the country in order to bring the Republican victory home and the win for Trump here in the final 45 days. They've been working tirelessly, and he's joining us now. Adam, great to have you, man.
Thanks very much. And, yet the election's, just around the corner, but in some places it's already begun. Ballots are already starting to be sent out. So it is go time right now.
Well, early voting has started in a lot of these states. Virginia, for instance, where I am, it just started on last Friday. So long lines at the registrar's office for early voting. Let's get to the Supreme Court pick and why it is so critical that this be done by November 3rd. We were a little nervous yesterday, but now it appears that Cory Gardner, Colorado, he's in a tough race. He says he's voting in favor of confirming somebody before November 3rd. Same with Chuck Grassley. That really only leaves two Republicans who said no, Collins and Murkowski, and Romney. We never know what he's going to do. But even if he votes no, they've still got 50. Pence breaks the tie. Are we going to get a Supreme Court nominee confirmed, Adam, before November 3rd?
Well, there's no reason that we shouldn't get it done. I believe that we will hear later in the week, Friday or Saturday, Trump will announce his pick, and when that happens, I think the conversation will quickly shift to, should Trump, should you vote for this person, to looking at this person's incredible, impeccable credentials and saying, well, you're really going to keep this person off. He's already said he's going to nominate a woman. I would like to see who's, even these Republican senators like Susan Collins, you're going to have one of the most qualified female jurists of all times being nominated. Which one of them is going to have the guts to say no to her? And the thing about Susan Collins is she doesn't support this and doesn't somehow figure out a way to go back and support this candidate. I hate to say it, but she's gone. I just don't see how she can win re-election because she will so depress the conservative base in Maine. And yes, Maine is a state that you do need. She needs the conservative base and she needs some moderates to come along to get her reelected. If she doesn't vote for this candidate, she will suppress her conservative base, and that moderate base, she's not going to win over anyone else for this. So it's kind of the end of Susan Collins, I think, as we know it here. And Lisa Murkowski, she's kind of, she hasn't really been on Team Republican in a while here. If you remember a few years ago, she even lost the Republican primary. So she's not up for re-election for another couple of years, but I have a feeling this is going to be this is going to make a real trouble for her in a couple of years in the Republican primary up in Alaska.
I mean, I don't think Murkowski cares. I mean, she lost the nomination, if 2 terms back to the guy Joe Miller beat him with a write-in. Nobody could spell her name. So I think she pretty much feels that she's invulnerable. That's always bad when politicians believe that. But I agree with you on Collins. I mean, look, I'm a Susan Collins fan because I remember the speech she made on the floor for Kavanaugh. I don't agree with every vote she makes, but I'm not one of those that you have to be 100%. I'm like an 80% guy, 75% I'm good to go. But I thought her speech on Kavanaugh was one of the most compelling speeches I've ever heard her or anybody else make for a nominee. She's in a tough race. She's behind. How does this help her? How does saying I'm not going to vote for a female, how does this get her base motivated? How does this get Trump people out? I would, if I was in Maine, I would just skip over her.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think she's overthinking this, thinking there's this moderate surge that's going to appreciate this. Look, you reference what Bannon says. I don't think that there is the Supreme Court nominee. This is not geared towards your moderate middle of the voter who hasn't decided one way or the other. I don't think this really matters to them so much. I think that person is going to vote mostly on the economy and where we are with COVID. That's what that moderate voter is going to do. For your base voter, if you're a conservative, I remember my own staff, they were going through ways to try and figure out, the arguments to move the thing forward. And I was just saying to them, look, this is a simple football move. We're going to run it between the tackles right now. That's it. We're going to confirm the nominee. This isn't, as the old saying goes, this ain't no thinking thing. You just do this, you reform the judiciary for a generation. Now, there is this threat that I think is a very real threat, that liberals would pack the courts, add 4 states to the union, do away with the Electoral College, all of that. But guess what? That had nothing to do with the Supreme Court. They were talking about doing this beforehand. So we can't worry about that in the future. You only can take care of what is in front of you and present, and that is getting this through. And you mentioned Romney. We don't know what Mitt Romney is going to do. Mitt Romney says he is pro-life. Mitt Romney is from the state of Utah, socially conservative state, and he is going to go back to his voters and say, we had the opportunity for a once-in-a-generational conservative court, and for some reason I passed up on it. Oh, I don't think that flies. I don't think that flies with anyone back in Utah. So yeah, I believe that you will. Mike Pence may be called down to cast that vote, but you've had, Sandra Day O'Connor. She went through in just about 30 days back in 1980. Ginsburg, she had her confirmation done in 40 days. So, look, there's no reason you couldn't get this done. And frankly, I think this may end up being a net positive for Republicans. I know all the pundits are saying this is negative, but here's my net positive theory, is that when you have this great woman who's up there and she's got her kids behind her and she's doing her hearings, and Democrats go manically wild and out of control, that's going to reflect poorly in America's suburbs.
My first choice for this, I'm a Catholic, so let's put that out there. Everybody knows that. But my first choice is Amy Coney Barrett. I think, she just got confirmed not that long ago to a judgeship. So, she went through the hearings process. They know her. There's other good candidates out there. Luego, one of them. But she's got 7 children, 2 of them adopted, 5 her own through birth. She went to Notre Dame. She's very conservative, but she's been attacked on both sides. Obviously attacked from the liberals saying she's going to overturn Roe v. Wade, etc., too conservative, but also attacked by National Review and others on the right saying that her comments that she's made as a Catholic were too theocracy-oriented. And so I like when somebody's attacked on both sides. It probably means they're going to be a fabulous judge, but that's my choice. What trouble is she in if she indeed is the nominee?
Well, I think the trouble that she's in is Democrats will use every trick in the book to slow down the nomination. You've even heard Nancy Pelosi hint at another impeachment hearing. Quickly, charges move through to force the Senate to stop its business to vote on another Trump impeachment. That could delay things through the election. There's no doubt about it. But then again, politically, I can't imagine the American people, those moderate swing voters, are going to appreciate that type of trickery. That would be very dangerously. Nancy Pelosi can do that. Senate Democrats can do that, but I just don't think that that's going to be good for them when it comes to when we finally count the ballots. So there's things that can slip her up. I mean, you could do, and I did notice Collins and Murkowski even, they did have this wiggle room that they don't want to do it before the election. So, okay, they successfully stall her candidacy. And look, one thing that's very clear, whoever this woman is who's going to be nominated, she is going to get a hearing. She is going to be vetted. Now, that means right in the lame duck session after the election, they could very easily appoint her to the court. So, November 10th, she could be confirmed onto the court. That is within the realm of possibility. But right now, as long as Mitch McConnell keeps 50 Republican senators, I don't see anything that could slow the train down.
John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. I'm live in New York City today, as we were yesterday, and we'll be in Florida on Thursday, Friday, and Monday following the Trump campaign there, Florida Mid-State. We're with Adam Brandon. He is president and CEO of FreedomWorks. Go to freedomworks.com. More information, freedomworks.com. Got a text here from Christine in Washington, D.C., Adam. She says, the one Democrat that voted for Kavanaugh, Senator Joe Manchin, won in 2018. All the other Democrats that were up for re-election and voted against Kavanaugh lost. They have to confirm and go campaign, so they got to get out of there. You just mentioned November 10th. Can't we get this thing done before November 3rd?
I think you can. I'm just illustrating, yes, what could go wrong. That's what it looks like to me. It could go wrong. But I keep drawing this analogy to a simple running play in football. This is a first and goal at the 1 yard line. There's no reason for play action here. You just hand off to your running back. You let the defense know exactly where you're going, exactly what you're doing, and they just can't stop you. That's this type of political play that you make right now. You just get this in, and it seems like Trump will decide this Friday, this Saturday. There's no reason why the next week you don't start moving the future justice around. You start the hearing process. We mentioned the two Senate ladies that are going to be a problem in this. I did see a tweet from Mitt Romney's communications director and was saying he wouldn't support this, and Mitt Romney's communications director said that's fake news. So here we go. There's no reason why I think this clears the committee very quickly, very, very quickly, and then we'll see what kind of theatrics the Democrats try and do before Mitch McConnell calls for a full vote.
So why are we waiting? Why did Trump wait until Friday or Saturday? We kind of thought he was going to do this today or Monday, get it done and get it moving. I mean, he's obviously had these people vetted a long time ago. They knew what they were going to do. Now he says he's down to 5. Why the week's delay, and how will that impact it?
That's a good question. My guess is he wants to do some final vetting. My guess is he also is, and I don't have any inside knowledge on this, but I would assume the White House and the Senate is working together on this to try and get their ducks in a row a little bit before, ahead of time. Up to me, there's no reason to wait. My guess is the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I don't think is a surprise to anyone. I mean, I was at the Kavanaugh swearing-in ceremony at the White House months and months and months ago, and I remember seeing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and it was Clarence Thomas who was basically carrying her around. It was very obviously that this woman was not in very good shape at that point. So I would assume they've been preparing for this eventuality, and so I I do think it's go time, and you just nominate and go at this point. But for whatever reason, strategy-wise, he's waiting for a few days, maybe just doing some last-minute vetting and checking, and just seeing where senators stand on these various candidates to make sure that they get the path of least resistance. But the lists, we've always heard about the Supreme Court lists. I have taken a look at these lists a while ago, and just about every single one of the people that's on President Trump's list of a justice, I'm fine with. So I don't expect this to be someone who's not on that list, and therefore I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to go forward without a problem.
John Fredericks Radio Network, Adam Brandon with us. Adam, look, I hope you're right. We've got to get this done. And one of the other reasons that Steve Bannon said in the speech yesterday that he believes that this election is not going to be decided until hours before inauguration. And he says it's going to be decided by SCOTUS. And he said basically you take John Roberts and you put him in the liberal column, no matter what it is. If he votes with you, you get shocked by it, because he said he's concerned in his legacy in the New York Times, and that's it. So he says you're basically stuck at 4-4. That's why this person has to be confirmed by November 3rd, because this person could end up deciding who's a president of the United States. Adam, let me just ask you one other thing. I had a couple more minutes. Mobs going to Lindsey Graham's house last night, or Tuesday morning, banging on his door. It's one thing to be banging pots. Then they went through his yard and they were banging on his door at 6:15 a.m. Capitol Police have to come. But not everybody's protected by the Capitol Police. I don't think you are. I'm not.
No.
Now you get mobs banging on your door. When you get hundreds of people amassed in your yard at 5 a.m., banging pots and pans, waking you up, and then banging on your door, trying to break it down, where's this end, Adam?
Well, that's the scary logical thing when you start rolling this out. What happens? I mean, what happens when Trump wins? Can you imagine what the riots are going to look like in D.C. that night? This is a problem where people start. We should be encouraging people to get involved in public service, but public service also doesn't mean that you've got a target on your back. Public service means that you're stepping into the arena and it's a pretty brutal arena, but that doesn't mean you should be fearing for your personal safety, your property, or your family should be subject to harassment. And unfortunately, I think the left is kind of they're just pushing into ways and trying to stoke fear to try and kowtow people from getting involved in the process. And if we let this succeed, this is going to become part of American politics. And there are some dark undertones to our system right now that remind me from history books in places like the 1930s, where you start having mobs going around and they are doing kind of extracurricular politics to kowtow and scare people out of serving. And this is a great example of that. But look, you look at some of the numbers. Suburban voters, they are seeing this. Those middle swing voters, they are seeing this. They see a big difference between protesting in the street with the sign and making your voice heard, and then threats of physical intimidation. And those threats, they may be popular on the left, but they're not popular with anyone else in American society.
John Fredericks Radio Network. Adam, thank you for being with us. Keep fighting, Adam. Like you said, Adam, voting starts now, right? No debates, nothing. Voting starts right now, and you got to get out there and vote. This early voting, 6 weeks out, is kind of weird. We haven't even had a debate yet, and we're already out there voting by mail and in person for it. But it is what it is. We have to deal with the hand we're dealt and make this work. Adam, thank you. Thank you for being with us.